Oh, at Drake?
Yeah.
So I didn't.
We were roommates.
I didn't know you went to Drake. I thought it was Cleveland State. Right?
No, we was both at Drake our first year.
I did that on purpose.
Yeah, yes, pretty much. It was intentional.
That's what's up. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then Amy left, and we was like, we gotta get out of here.
That was the culture.
So our coach that was recruiting us was Amy Stevens. So she was there for however many years before us, but then literally the year we were about to go to the school, she gets fired.
Yeah.
And then you know how that is when your coach that's been recruiting.
They're trying to bring up all these players.
You know what I mean? So they want their own system in there. So that's kind of what happened with that.
And then it's crazy because when Jenny came in, Jenny was recruiting since Marquette, and then when she went over to Colorado and was coaching over there, and then when she got to Drake, she completely flipped the script.
That's what
What do you mean by that? Like flip script?
Went from showing like interest and wanting me to be a part of the system at a different school, but when now I'm at the same school as you want to completely change everything. And then there was a previous coach that was still on staff from our original head coach, and she flipped the same script too. So it just put us in a really uncomfortable position. We didn't feel like we could actualize our potential while we was at that school.
Shit, we talking about it right now, right into it. Like, since y'all went to Drake, like, I know you guys had a lot of offers coming out. I went to school with you, so I know you was having you had a decent amount of Division I offers. Now I know you had a decent amount over there. So can you tell me more? Cause I know it wasn't that simple. It's just like that, like just y'all too. Like what else added into like picking not Drake. I'm sorry. What was the school? It was Drake.
Drake first school.
Yeah. So what made y'all like pick that? Other than y'all two being there, y'all two know each other. Like,
it was a lot of different things for me. The more I got into the recruiting process, and like you getting noticed by like all of these super really big schools, the bigger the school, the more business-like it felt like the relationship was. And it's not as though, okay, you are number one pick, but if you take too long, this is who we're moving on to. So it felt very transactional. The more I thought about it, like especially now that I'm out of this collegiate basketball system, definitely I wasn't very confident. Like I knew I played really well. Like in high school, I was.
You lost your confidence, then?
I felt like I wanted to be a big fish in a small pond. I didn't want to go to a big school, and then my talent blends in with all the other talent that's at the school, and I wanted to be able to stand out and make a name for myself. So that's probably why I went smaller and chose the school that I did. And I also am big on loyalty. And with Amy Stevens, who was the coach that was recruiting us, she had been recruiting me since like 8th grade. She went to everything. She always checked in. She showed a lot of genuine interest in me, and I think that really played a part in my college decision.
Okay. Like, what about you?
For me, I would say I wasn't getting a lot of offers like from 8th grade to 9th grade, 10th grade, but then my junior year, all the work that I was putting in and the consistency in the gym and all of that with my dad and his friends, Rick Spicer, that's
of course, shout out
time. Like doing those things brought me to my junior year where I started getting a lot of offers. I started getting seen, but Drake was my first offer. Okay. And like Lex said, you don't want to lose like that offer. Once you get one, it's like, dang, like should I commit? Like I don't know what to do. Like I don't want them to move on to somebody else. So at that point, it was kind of like me and my dad had that talk. What you want to do? I went up to the visit. It was beautiful. You know, they had a little suite for me by myself. I could get room service, all of that. You know, they played it all out. I'm just like, all right, bet. Then I went to see the facilities. I saw how they was practicing, and it was intense. I had never seen anything like it. And that attracted me to the school for sure, was the intensity for sure. Amy Stevens, that was really what it was. So when she wasn't there, going there, it was definitely difficult, but easier because Lex was there with me. So that was one thing that we always had, was each other when we were at school, going through hard times. It was like, well, we roommates anyway. We going right to practice to the room. You know, we can talk about whatever we want to talk about. It's right point in the day.
So that made that transition easier.
It was way easier.
Because you had somebody back from career.
Otherwise, it would have been way harder to deal with for sure.
Yeah. How was it like? How was it like playing on that first year together? Like, because that's a bigger stage.
It was cool because like summer workouts, we was balling, like we was just busting everybody. I felt like, you know, definitely holding our own as freshmen. So
we're definitely more talented than a lot of the upperclassmen.
Like like pure talent.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely maybe, you know, we play like Milwaukee Hoopers.
Mm-hmm.
So that might not be that system that Jimmy wanted at that time. But we thought we were gonna play just from how we was showing out in preseason workouts and summer workouts.
Yeah.
We're expecting to play.
Yeah.
You know, why wouldn't we play if I'm in a workout? You see me in a workout, I don't kill it. Like, why wouldn't I play? So, you know, you go into their office, coach, what do I need to do to play? They say you do this, you do this, you do this. Do 3 extra workouts this week. Do 2 extra workouts this week, and you go and do it, and you're still not playing. It's not adding up.
You don't think it was like they wanted to push y'all since you like young, like you know, like the system, like all the seniors, like make you learn and take those bumps and bruises early? You don't think it was that?
If it was, that's not what was being.
No,
that wasn't what was being voiced. So
yeah,
you know, I would rather that than just flat out
told you what was
said. Otherwise, that's not what was being told to us.
That's not what was being translated because you had upperclassmen who weren't playing as veteran players should play.
Yeah.
As far as like making mistakes and the mistakes that continually kept being made in games, and just how when we would be subbed into games, whether we getting blown out or somebody's in foul trouble, just the way that the momentum would shift when we would come in. Like we brought a boost, or we brought a spark, and that was evident every time that we came in. But it was just never consistent on our end where we would show up and we would perform, and that wasn't actualized in additional game.
Right.
And we're trusting the coach.
Yeah, pretty much you agree.
Yep.
Same thing. Yeah. But even saying that though, you was balling out like weren't you like you got like you started like at least your sophomore year like you started
I transferred, so
right
then I was
away.
After freshman
Okay,
year.
I didn't. Yeah,
We both transferred
right away.
Right away.
Okay.
Like,
okay.
like pretty much after about half the season, and we weren't getting those answers. It's like I'm not gonna stay here and not play. You know, I want to play whatever division I go to. I want to play right away.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, when I transferred, we weren't looking at like me and my dad. That's who I did all my basketball process with. We weren't looking at any D1s because I was already sitting and not playing. So I was like, I want to play right away. Okay, so
was it okay with you before you say that? Like coming to like realization, or like was you cool with that? Like I don't know, like how did you feel like
after now that I'm older and I'm like I coach and I like lead kids to different paths of basketball, I would say that I would have probably went the JUCO route and then went back D1 instead of just going straight D2. Okay. But we didn't know that much about it. Yeah. You know, we didn't know that much about transferring schools at that time. You know, once you went to a school, it was kind of like you going to that school because like I said, you got to be loyal to the school. So that's pretty much how it was. But once that happened and we made that decision, like I want to play. So if I can't play here, I'm gonna go anywhere I can play at. So once we made that decision,
Division 2 school.
I went to a D2 school because I was like, this is how I can play right away. So yeah, like you said, I was playing right away, getting plenty click and busting plenty, you know. So I was definitely doing my thing out there. I was in Missouri. It's called Southwest Baptist. It's in the MIAA conference. So definitely one of the best Division 2 conferences out there. So if anybody, you know, is looking to transfer from a D1 to a D2, I would go to the for real. I would go to the MIAA conference, Emporia, UCM, Pitt State. You know, all those big D2 powerhouses are in that conference. So I was definitely playing against a lot of competition, a lot of D1 transfers also there too. So yes, it was a lot of competition. It was definitely tough. So I was like, and I liked it better because then it was like, you know, we were really competing. At D1, it's like, you know, it's UConn, Tennessee, Stanford. Otherwise,
so I was playing against them too. So
well, like that's D1, but I mean, I'm just saying, like not even at Drake either, but just like D1, that's how you can win a championship. With D2, anybody can win a championship any year.
I understand. I get you. So like, were you satisfied with your college career? Or like before you say that, what were your highlights of that career? Since you finally got the ball to do your thing at that school, like
my highlights, I would say definitely like being a captain. Pretty much all of the years that I was there. That meant a lot to me just because, you know, your coach having that faith in you to repeat that, like everything that she needs you to say. Because as a point guard, number one, you're the floor general. You're doing everything that your coach is telling you to do and repeating it back to your teammates and making sure they repeat it back to you. So like you have a big responsibility. I would say that was like one thing that I'm really proud of in my career is just having that captain role. and stepping up to that leadership role. Definitely one of my college teammates, her name is Sarah. We weren't close when we were in college at first, but then we went on this amazing little fellowship trip. I went to a Christian school. So we went on this little trip and then we started bonding after that. And one thing she said in her senior speech was like, I really helped her elevate her game by being so tough on her. We used to battle in practice, not talking the whole practice until the end of that's how it's supposed to be.
It's supposed to be going
You know, so
right.
definitely having that competitive nature, that was another thing that I was able to have in college, because high school, you don't really want to go that hard at your friends all the time. Like for girls, it was a little different than like how guys play. Y'all able to, like with guys it's a little different. But like with girls, sometimes like you definitely hold back a little bit. But with people that you don't know, like you gonna try to kill every time. So definitely being able to reach that competitive nature that I wasn't doing in high school, because I should have been killing way more. Getting to that college level and being able to really unleash that beast. Like, all right, like we don't gotta be friends then. Like we can just do this, But then we became friends later. But at first it definitely wasn't like that, and I loved that at first. I was like, oh yeah, I like this competitive shit. Like I love that. So those are a couple of things with my college career. I definitely hit a 30-point game against UCM one time. So making people fall. That was stuff that I love to do, just controlling the game. I love making defenders do what I want them to do.
Were you always playing, before we move on, was you always a one? Cause I remember more like a scoring guard.
No, I was definitely
like off guard.
I did not. I didn't want to be a one. I really didn't want to be a one, and my dad, he hated that I didn't want to be a one because he wanted me to have the ball in my hands, and I was like, Dad, I wanted that. But then when I got to college and I really learned to pick and roll, I love being at the one. I was like, oh, this is my show now. Like I loved it. So like once I got into that system and I knew that I could control it, I loved being the one. But definitely in high school, I was like, I don't gotta bring the ball up. I'm trying to shoot the ball, and I'm not a selfish player, so I wanted to bring the ball up and pass it. My dad like, you might have a shot when you go up. I'm like, all right, Dad, but I'm trying to pass it through first, maybe get it back, but. How that goes.
Shout out to your pops. Shout out to Pops.
You should definitely have one.
Definitely. That's Pops. Definitely a Pops. You already know that. But for you, what would you say like your highlights? Because you went to Cleveland State after that, right?
Yeah.
You went straight to Cleveland State, and that was Division I. So like, how was that? And what was this? What was the decision to go there?
Well, based on the schools that were still interested in me after I transferred from Drake, when you pull out your transfer sheet, like, well, these are the schools that I'm interested in. Obviously, the coach is either going to say, well, yeah, I'm going to approve this, I'm not going to approve that. Cleveland State stayed on that list. And I still had a very strong relationship with the coach from that school, Coach Kate Peterson. And my parents had been talking to her, just telling her about my experience at Drake and how I had been considering wanting to go there. And she jumped on it immediately. I was like, okay, well, these are my schools, but this is the one I really want to go to. So we set up calls, set up all the transfer stuff that we needed to do. And I told myself, like, do I want to play right away, or do I want to be able to go to a D1 school and just stay on that track? Because at that point in time, I wasn't as knowledgeable about how competitive or what the demographic makeup was of a D2 or a D3 or go as you go. My thought was, I'm a Division I player, and I don't want to drop it below.
That's how we were taught.
Exactly. It's like it was D1 or bust.
That's why I had a question, like, how was it like going picking that D2?
Yeah. That's how it was, but I owned it. I was just like, I don't care. Like, ain't nobody about to be up here running these sprints with me or doing other stuff I gotta do out here away from my family. I didn't really care. It was like, I'm going to eat. I'm trying to play. Like, I knew what it felt like not to play, so it didn't matter. I was like, it don't matter. I'll go anywhere.
So I know you always stayed in the gym. Like, I really wasn't like watching too much of the game, but like I was still like on like a little bit on social media, and then it was like cool. So like I was seeing you stayed in the gym there. Like, so how could you tell me like how was it? So
especially like the year that I had to sit out, I didn't do anything else. I would sleep in the locker room. And not even to just be there so I don't have to oversleep for like a morning workout or something. But like I just loved being at the gym. So I'm finally with a coach that I really like. I like the system. I like the way that she runs things. I'm super excited to be here. And when I'm finally eligible, after sitting out a year, I'm gonna be ready to play, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Maybe like after a couple of games of like coming off the bench, I started my entire time at CSU. I was a captain the last 2 years.
That was good. Yeah.
I want to say some highlights for me was I was originally recruited to be a guard. That's all I wanted to play. And as soon as I got to that school, I was a post player because I had springs.
Athletic, already.
Right.
You don't gotta explain.
Because
You
you were
already know.
dunking, basically.
And I was stronger than the post players that we had. So I feel like a highlight for that for me on the offensive and the defensive end of the other ball was like, I'm undersized.
Hold it down.
And I'm holding it down, yeah. Like I'm blocking everything, I'm rebounding everything. Like I would cup the ball and be like, okay, now go get it back.
Type thing.
And then I would definitely say tearing my ACL. Like in that
Why
moment.
everybody's got these damn stories like ACL? I
don't got
none. Right. That's crazy. So
Like in that moment, it was such a trash experience because I was coming off a really great season, and I was like finally stepping. It's like it was about to be my high season. It was just me. I didn't have to play under any seniors. I would have been like the primary person, right?
Your chance.
But like looking back on it, I grew so much physically and emotionally and mentally just going through that and just like not allowing myself to be in a dark space, because typically when you have that, so I tore ACL, MCL, and my meniscus.
I remember
And typically take like 9 to 12 months to be able to rehab that the proper way. I did it in 6, and I played the last 6 games of my regular season because I loved it. I loved basketball that much, and I wanted to play. And there was no reason why an injury was gonna keep me off the floor.
Respect, yeah. That's what's up. That's dope, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, right. For real. Yeah, I'll have to chill on that one. Like, yeah, catch me next year. Catch me next year.
Like I'm gonna decide, like, okay, any drills I can get into that? Right, no contact, but can I shoot?
Right.
Something.
Yeah. So, talk before we go move on. Like talking about that. What ways did you grow? Did you say like that? Like you said, grew in different ways, a lot of different ways.
Very much so, physically and mentally.
And like you said, usually people get injuries like that. Like usually, like they get like a low point.
Yeah, like a lot of people go through depression because the year prior, when our freshman, hers happened in game, and I was Ashanti, our point guard, and it just the way that it affected her mentally when she was going through it. I told myself I don't want to be in that same position. I can't allow myself to get like that. Because just seeing how it affected her, it scared me, and it was just like a shock to me. It's like, whoa, like this can really go left. And I just vowed, after I found out the news, I had my little moment like, wow, this is trash. But other than that, I kept it running. I kept going with it. First person to the trainer in the morning. What are we doing for rehab? After surgery, you should go home and rest. Coach comes, like drives me. I was like, can I come and watch practice? Can I do rehab? Can I start my rehab tomorrow?
Yeah.
Like I wasn't trying
to miss nothing. Yeah.
And then just the fact that I felt so strongly about my legs. Like that was my pride and joy in school. I was like, there's no way that I'm not gonna be able to jump or do all of this stuff that I was doing before and not be able to do it now. So that was one of the main reasons why I was asking for extra reps in physical therapy or asking our strength and conditioning coach, well, what stuff that I am able to do and how many reps can I have? Can I do this stuff individually? Can I do this at my apartment? When can we add stuff? Can I add weight?
You on it.
And like even with the stuff that I was doing, like even with the injury, it was still more than what the regular players were doing. So I felt like with that and being the team captain, I didn't want to be seen as weak. I can handle the load of everybody else and still be doing more because I'm still 7 years after the injury or not.
Yeah, no excuses. I feel that. Yeah. That's what's up. So did you have any deep runs at Cleveland State other than that?
I want to say our junior year, with our seniors, we got to the quarterfinal in the tournament. We were playing against Rice State. It was a really, really good game. I think that's the game where I might have had 17 rebounds.
Shit.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, you holding it down, so
Right.
okay. So no, so you had a solid career there. So are you satisfied with how your college career went?
I would say no, only because just even with high school and college, I've never won like a championship, whether it be in high school, college, whether it was regular season champions, or if you go to a tournament and be able to do that kind of stuff. I've never had that.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's always that space there for me, because I don't count it. You can whatever, you know, anywhere, right? Trophy, get right, whatever. But it's not solidified until you like do where you go to school. So that's a hole for me. Up until my injury, I thought I was going to be in a record book for a couple of things, like for rebounds and like block shots. So that's a hole for me too. So like, there's a whole bunch of holes in my career. I feel like if I wouldn't have gotten injured, maybe I would have been more satisfied with it.
And all that comes with just being competitive.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I've been trying to figure out ways to get reinstated. Can I come back?
Yeah, you don't got no more years.
I definitely don't. I tried to get a fifth.
Oh yeah,
After my
entirety, we wanted to win. Like we were all so competitive that it was like whatever, we're gonna win. Like D, you hot, we're gonna swing it.
Right.
Boom,
Like we
should
play
you
y'all
hot?
younger
Boom, boom,
team.
boom, break somebody down and just go right to the rim. Then
So play y'all younger team and then y'all older team. I can definitely tell
it's
you
the difference.
because everybody be super one-on-one. This is my time to do whatever. When you play the older team, but when you play against y'all, it's like
way more clean.
what can we do?
You can't beat a team. You can beat 1-on-1. You can't beat no team.
So, you think Suge was one of the nicest players that you played with?
Yeah. Definitely.
Who do you think was one of the best players that you played with?
I can give you.
Yeah, run down.
I'll give you my top 5 for who I played with. By position. So if I was going to go point guard, I'm going Suge. For my 2, like my age, or can I be younger too? Okay, if I'm gonna go for a 2, I'm probably gonna go Enrique. Like I can say that, like we definitely played against each other. I feel like maybe a couple times. Yeah. And you, but it wasn't the same. That wasn't like Enrique then. It was different. It was like, back then it was like, oh yeah, it's DJ, but now it's like, look, Enrique. So, it's just a difference. So, like, I would probably go Suge, and I'm gonna go Enrique. For my 3, I'm gonna go. If I'm just going straight Milwaukee, because if I wasn't, I would definitely probably put Maren in here for that. For sure. But she's not, third for Milwaukee. I'm gonna go Zay. So Zaya, 4, Lex. Sorry, Lex. Like I know you hate being a 4, but you are my perfect 4. Like if I was ever to have if I was ever to have a clinic, like a basketball clinic, like you would be the person I would put as a 4 for everybody to model. Like I'm like, look at what she does and do what she did. And then my 5, I'll be honest, definitely for 5. Yeah.
Solid.
So those are probably the best people that I played with. But definitely didn't play with. I'm going Nicole Griffin, 5, Destiny Blue, 4, Terry Stamps. That was one of my favorite players in high school. Is Terry. I used to watch her game. I liked her game. I don't know if you know Kendra Washington. She played at Hope School. Not a lot of people know about her because she played at Hope. But she's cold. Like her, I would have loved to see like her and Rachel battle type shit. That's how cold she was. Definitely around that age. And then Rachel is my 1. Those are probably the best players. And then Ashley Bird's probably is the 3. Yeah, I love Ashley Bird's game. Janelle Adams, like it's just I was just waiting for her name to come up, bro. It's so many just Milwaukee like icons. I used to watch growing up. Like those were the players. Like going to Vincent game, King games. Like that's how I felt. And be awestruck. My dad bringing me literally walking to the game like it was. It's like going to the Bucks game. That's how I was going to a Bucks game, going to one of those games. It was finna be cracking. Literally finna be cracking. You gotta leave. That was when you had to leave cell phones in the car, right?
Yeah, that was so not happening. Never did that. Never.
Pops always had phones.
Never the back door.
You're right. We're not doing that.
Go talk about what we talked about before you. So basically, your job led you into led you into coaching.
yeah, so my job led me into coaching, just because, enterprise, a lot of hours, I wasn't able to coach if I was going to stay there. So I had to like kind of stay away from there. Someone that worked at Enterprise, her name is Alexis. She called me up one day like, "Hey, do you want to coach with me?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." I looked at the team. They seemed like they was playing. I didn't really care at that point. It was kind of like, "Yeah, I'm going to have to come do this." So
did you miss it at all?
Well, basketball. Yeah. I was trying to stay away from it. Like I was literally like, I'm never gonna coach. Like I'm not gonna do anything with basketball ever again. That was my attitude about it because I did it. Like my college career was okay, but it just wasn't. It took my passion away. Like I didn't love it anymore. Like nothing about my college career ending was like, oh, like I want to continue to play or I'm gonna coach some kids right now. Like I was like, I want to be done with basketball. Playing basketball since I was 5. Like I don't even want to look at a ball. So that's really what I did for a couple of years. I didn't look at a ball. I wasn't even playing pickup or nothing. Like I really had put the ball down. So then when she had called me, everything just came full circle, and I was like, yeah, I'll leave this job. Like I'll do that, and I want to go play. I want to go coach, and that's what I felt like was most important at the time too. Was being around kids and helping them, and I wanted to really give them like a model and teach them the stuff that I wasn't taught. So that's really what fueled me, and what fueled like Echo Culture was like no one telling my dad at that point back when I was in going through that transfer situation, all the avenues I could have taken. Like, no one sat down with us and was like, hey, B, like, y'all don't have to go to B2. Y'all could do this path, or you could do this path, or these are the reasons, these are the benefits, these are the differences. Like, nobody did that with us. We just made a decision. And there's a lot of, I feel like, inner city kids that are put in that position because they don't have information.
Right.
And they don't have people that are trying to help lead them, like, in the right direction.
Or give them that knowledge.
You know what I mean? And all that is ignorance because, lack of knowledge is literally ignorance. But it's not their fault. Good. They don't have anyone telling them. Like, they don't know the questions to ask. They don't even know what questions to ask, really. Like, one thing with me in high school, taking the ACT, that wasn't something I was prepping for. I just feel like my dad was told to him, like, hey, you got to do this. It was like, we're going to go do this. And I was like, all right, like, I'm about to go take the ACT. I don't know what the ACT was. We just went and kind of took it. And that's literally how that went. So, like, I want to prepare other families and have them set up in a way where it's not a stressful situation senior year. Kids don't got no looks. Kids don't know how to have a schedule to work out themselves, like be player-led, really self-led, not have somebody having to push you and wake you up every day, like, you need to go work out. Like, no, it should be a senior year. Like, if you're not pushing yourself by that time, like, they should be giving that reality check. Like, you're probably not going to like college basketball. They need to be given those realities. So
that's where the echo comes from.
Yeah. Yep. So it's really for them to echo behaviors. Yeah. Like echo the habits that you want to make in your life and echo those for other people. And then y'all continue to echo back and forth to each other. Like that's really where it came from. We would just sit down one day, me and my fiance talking about that, like trying to think of a name, and then Echo literally came up. He's like, yeah, because we want them to be able to say that to somebody, and then we'll be able to repeat it back, and it'd be like, Echo. That's literally how we came up with that name. And the culture was like, you got to echo the type of culture that you want to be around or be a part of, or that you want to make. So, like, if you're doing those things, echoing your culture at all times, then you're probably going to be successful. You're probably going to bring the right type of energies around you eventually. If you consistently do it, eventually those right type of people are going to just navigate around you, and then your life is going to, like, whether it's basketball or not, like, it's not just for basketball. So whether it's basketball or not, like, eventually it's going to bloom into wherever you want it to be.
Yeah, I understand that.
I'm glad you understand. A lot of people be asking me so many times, like, girl, what does that mean? Like,
think about it.
Right, but that's what I be think about it, man. Like, it's literally the definition of the name.
Yeah. How long have you been hot salon? How long has that been going?
We started it last summer.
Okay.
Officially, so we got the LLC. We got the LLC, got all of that. And so last summer was our official start. it really just started from one of my student athletes at that first school I coached. It was her senior year, and there were so many things that she hadn't done, like the clearinghouse. Like there were just so many check marks that it was like, why haven't you done this? And she was a color, so like I got really passionate about it right away. I'm like, well, we about to look, like ain't nobody else doing it, so we about to get it done and figure out what we have to do. And then my spouse, she's a teacher, so it just matched up perfectly because it was like, I'm really cool with the training stuff or the basketball side, and then we also wanted to bring a educational piece into it too and mental aspect into it too. So with her and me just gelling together, it was like everything was pretty much perfect.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, so just kind of worked when they wanted it.
Yeah.
So that's something that you plan on taking for, like, what's the long goal with that?
Long goal is to have some type of like facility where we can do things inside in the city in Milwaukee, or like, but I want it to become like a nationwide thing, but obviously but that's really why I'm here, because I wanted it would need more in Milwaukee, and I know that the city needs it. Like we don't have any space where we can go to just hoop. Kids don't have a space. Like we can go to, center courts. They got all of that, all those hoops and all that stuff. Like ain't nobody going there, but there's nothing in the city where kids could just go and hoop after school. Like I feel like the Boys and Girls Club, maybe back in the day.
Like Twilight.
You know what I mean?
You can really just go to. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, so like that, but then not have it just be that. They can also come and work on graphic design stuff if they want to. They can come and work on music if they want to, having like little classrooms all surrounding it. So whether if that sounds like a school, I don't really know. We're still kind of developing it, but like, some place, it's like a safe space for them where they can just come and chill after school. But
they'll also come get some games.
Whatever they want to do. But have it all be like where they can come every day and be consistent with it and put in maximum effort and not just come and fool around. Because I feel like kids don't have enough people that are holding them accountable to their dreams and what they actually want to do. Like you can't just come to an after school program and think you about to kick it. No, we're gonna come to the after school program to do the program. Like it's a program. So we're gonna have actual things for you to do every single day. And you're gonna have to do them before you even get to any free time.
You're gonna have
because it's serious. Like your life is serious to me, and it's important that you start now rather than later. That's what I wish somebody would have told me. Like to really start working out, like for real though, every day. No, every day. I did not work out every day. Like yes, I worked out more than most people. That's how I got better, but I didn't work out as much as I could. Like way too many excuses. Whether it be I don't have enough time, I'm tired, I want to keep with my friends, whatever it could have been. It's not important. That stuff's really not important when you think about it. If you really want to go far to like be an elite person in anything, like you gotta do that every day. So yeah, literally.
Definitely sacrificing sacrificing the other stuff for what you want to do, and it's all gonna pay off.
It'll all pay off. It might be when you're 30, but it's gonna pay off. You just gotta be patient, slow grind, slow pushing.
So going off of that, in the coaching, you jumped up to coaching pretty fast. From what I saw,
so I was
the 2 varsity head coaches down already.
Yeah.
So that was fast. Like within less than 4 or 3 years.
So it's been about 3 years. I was the assistant.
Started off assistant.
And then there was a position in the city called Columbia Heights.
That was you were in
Minnesota. So I was still in St. Paul at the time. And so this team, I knew it was going to be like a team that I was going to have to build up because their record, for the past 3 years, they hadn't won more than 9 games in the past 6 years. Right. So I wasn't, but I like to win and I'm very competitive. So that was something that was I have to learn how to be okay with that too. So that was one thing for me. That was one thing I had to mature at right away, where it was it's not about me. Seeing my kids at the end of the night of them losing, what do I go in this locker room and say to them to keep them to come to practice tomorrow? As we consistently losing, that was one thing that became super evident to me. I'm it don't matter if I'm losing, they losing and they feel that the most.
Yeah, see about
So it was really about them. But yeah, I definitely got that position. And we really, I feel like, tried to turn their whole what they thought basketball was like around for high school. We sped the game up for them. It was just a lot of drama going on in that team. We cut it all out. Like, that's one thing my kids come in through the year, like, Coach, we had never had a team without drama. I'm like, because I don't play that. We don't have time. Like, y'all gonna be so tired in practice that I'm not gonna want to beat about nothing. Like, y'all gonna beef with me. I want y'all to beef with me, not with each other. Like, y'all can talk about me all you want, but I don't want y'all talking about each other because, like, those are your homies. That's those people that's gonna have your back. So that was one thing that I really was stressing, and that's one thing that really came to at the end of the year was I was like, ooh, that's one thing I'm glad I accomplished was them feeling more like a team, not like I'm better than everybody and you about to play under me type of vibe. I didn't want that. I wanted the seniors to get the bags and stuff. Like, the freshmen need to get the bags all the time. Like, we all the same. Like, I understand, both ways, but, sometimes I'm like, the freshman, y'all gotta get the bags. But, sometimes it's like, hey, let's get it for them. Like, just build some character. Like, because that's just like how they treat the custodians. Like, even to that. Like, that's one thing we always taught them too. Like, because custodians are always around. Like, especially with basketball. You gotta be cool with your custodians. Any coach, like, that's one that's one thing. They got the keys to the school. They got the keys to the school. So that's just one thing too. Like, that character stuff. They hated it at first, but like meditating and all of that stuff was things that we were trying to bring into the program. But last summer, or I guess when COVID started, my grandpa had passed away. So that's really what fueled me in coming back here to Milwaukee. Because when I was at school, there were a lot of major deaths in my family that I wasn't able to go back home for because of basketball. I couldn't miss it. So it was really tough. And then when that happened, and I was in a position like where I was like, yeah, I'm here, but I don't have to stay here. So it was kind of like, I want to go back home, be around my family. My brother's going to high school, Lex was going home, like my other homie was going home. So it was really just kind of like, you know what I mean? Like, the universe was all moving together. So I was just like, all right, I'm going to just do that. And I definitely was just following that spirit last year after my grandpa died. It was like, you just lead me where I should go. Because right now, I don't know what to do. So I'm just going to go wherever I feel led to go right now. So that's really, I feel like, why I got here. And then the Boyd situation happened with that coaching job there.
That's what I'm saying. You called it another one.
So I was about to really try to get into Nicolay because that's why I had opened up. And then, I was going to really be in the city. So I was like, all right, cool. But then just the way the cards played out, I wanted to kind of be home, but I also still wanted to be kind of further away from home where I could just drive home whenever I wanted to. So that was also a better situation for me. And how I kind of want to live my life after going to school in a small country town in Missouri for 3 years. I kind of fell in love with that vibe, and I like having that little openness in the country too. I'm kind of not a city kid no more. Trying not to be. But that's definitely the vibe that I was feeling, for these next few years of my life. So that's where I'm at in Boyd.
So you still got that job?
But right now, COVID, so we're not scheduled to get into our gym until January 26th. Okay. Right, you did math, look, you hear me? But it's already teams practicing, so, for me right now, new coach coming in, I did have the girls at first who was doing workouts, boom, getting them in, and, getting to know each other, everything's going lovely, and then they just closed it all down. And then they're like, well, coach, are we playing or not? That's all kids want to know, are we playing or not? And you can't really give them an answer, so then they kind of, that faith in you kind of, they already don't know me, so... that's been a little difficult, but we're going to be okay. And it's just tough because other teams are first year, bro. So other teams are already practicing right now. So, they be hitting me up like, Coach, my friends are practicing. I'm like, well, according to Rock County, I'm like, this is the email I was sent. So,
It was of course, but then I'll send them like a list of like a 30-minute workout.
Yep.
Stuff like that.
you know, just
You
add
know the
on
players,
stuff.
but I always send one. I do have players that I send them to, and then I don't send them again until they do it. So I'm like, once you complete it, I'll send another one. Cause I don't like just sending stuff.
Oh no, I ain't saying if you don't show me, you ain't gonna do it.
Yeah.
Like, why am I wasting my time?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna waste
So
my
I
time.
definitely love my
If
kids.
you show me, I'm gonna go hard.
Right.
Ain't no question.
Right. But yeah, definitely shout out to my kids that always hit me up about workouts because they definitely like, Coach, I need another one. Coach, I just finished this when I'm done. But it's definitely players that, Coach, I need a workout, but I've only seen one.
Yeah.
You know, I mental notes always.
Right,
I was like, you're a game. Like, don't be asking me because I'm definitely a coach that loves player-led teams. Like, after the second week of me going through how we start practice, I'm not doing it anymore. You guys got it, and if it's not done, literally, and if it's not done that way, we're gonna be on the line. Because we're in high school, you guys have responsibilities outside of basketball, so I know you can be responsible. You have phones, right? You keep track of your phone. You know how to check your social media every day. So I know you know how to be responsible, and I'm gonna hold you accountable to that. So after this second week of us going through this very detailed, you know, because I'm like, I like to run it like I was taught in college. Like that's how practice is gonna be. It'll be intense. We run into every drill. Once this drill is done, y'all better sprint. We're sprinting or we're on the line. Like I was very serious about that in my last school, and the benefits of it were great. Like by the end of the year, I was like, we had like this what's it called? What is it? The scoreboard or whatever. Like the record didn't show, but definitely, you know what I mean. The record didn't show it, but like the things that they were doing by the end of the year, I was
you
like,
got confidence. You saw the growth and what was happening and stuff like that. That's what happened to me. Like my year, like wasn't so good, but I saw like actually like players like, oh yeah, he learning. Like, like he get what I just taught him. Like he actually like
all the stuff that don't show up in the score.
He understand that. He understand what I was saying when I said that before. Yeah,
even off the court, like just saying little stuff like, hey, bro, you think about what you just said, think about like that, and they actually like you see like they pick it up on the game and they won't do it. They say it in their own way. But yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up. Yeah, I want to say we chopped it up for a minute though, so I want to make sure everything's digestible and shit. Yeah, but I wanted to congratulate both of you, but you first of all for just being a coach. Like you did that fast, like jumping up the ranks fast, and you're still a varsity coach. Like you're a varsity coach now. This is your second job, so like that's congratulations again on that, and actually like completing your college career and all that and moving. So that's what's up.
I appreciate that.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Just definitely proud, like just seeing you, like, oh, you got a coaching job, so that's what's up.
Thank you.
And then also want to say thank you for coming. So I didn't know you were coming.
I was supposed to be here for moral support.
DJ for making it. I appreciate that, you know. And then, actually, Alex, I want to say congratulate you on being a successful college career. I'll say it, yes, a successful college career. And then also overseas, you're a professional, even if you don't go no more. You did it, you know. Right. And that was
Ain't nobody take that away from you.
Exactly, yeah. You've been to a few countries and stuff like that, so that's what's up. Yeah, so I'm happy about that. That's what's up. So yeah, I wish y'all the best with the training and all that, and with your business with Lil Bro too, of course, and then you with the graphics and all that.
Absolutely.
Even in hooping, you know, I'm paying attention now. So, yeah, so thanks for coming again, and hopefully y'all like this. Keep watching, comment below. Thanks for coming.